excited today, especially for the fact that it's Women's History Month, that I get to sit with two all-around bosses in every sense of the word, Tunisha Brown and Dr. Priscilla Johnson. How are you, ladies?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, making it work, things going on. We were flooding one week here in Louisiana, and the next week it's like 80 degrees. So trying to balance it all out.
Climate change is real.
No, seriously. So I'll start with you, Tanisha, and then we'll kind of go into it from there. But you, I love the fact that you turned this idea you had into a brand, really. So you are the founder and editor in chief for Impact Magazine. Tell me a little bit about why you started the magazine and really what readers can get when they pick up a copy of it.
Awesome. Well, I want to say thank you for having Dr. Priscilla and I on as well. And this just really came about from me loving to write. And I come from Trenton, New Jersey, and it is a small town, like 7-mile radius. And it was declining. You know, I grew up in the Reaganomics era. And I was just like, oh my God, look at my neighborhood going down. And this guy named Darren Morris, he put out a weekly newspaper that just showcased the neighborhood, like all the parties that was going down and birthdays. And I don't know if y'all had that in your towns, but, he did that to showcase, the neighborhood and things that were going on good. And so it was a great shower for me, and I wanted to do it. I'm like, wow, if I know I feel this way by looking at this just in the town, how would it be nationally, like globally, for Black people to see each other in a magnificent light,
Yeah.
And I sat back and researched Susan L. Taylor and John H. Johnson from Ebony Magazine, and just researched them, how they built everything. Like Susan built Essence, but she was a single mom. And John Johnson, Mr. Johnson, he built Ebony as a Black man. So I wanted both aspects to see how to build, a magazine, because I knew I didn't want it to be a newspaper as Darren's was. And I knew I wanted to tell stories in a magazine format where it could be colorful and, artistic, and just grabs the reader's eyes. And we've been doing that for 14 years now.
That's a little minute now. I mean, and it's evident too by the people you've worked with. You work with some amazing people already, because not only do you have Impact Magazine, but now you have the Impact TV network.
Right.
With people like, David Banner. I know you work with Karen Civil, Angie Stone. So,
Right.
I mean, the list goes on. And I just commend you for, going after your passion and really building from that. And now look what you have, a whole empire.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
But it affords me the opportunity to tell our stories in an authentic way. And I always say, like, we can get what they're wearing from other sources or gossip, but when the reader comes to my publication, they'll get their story, where they grew up and what are their aspirations and what empowers them, and all of those things about, Black folks that we love, all of the dysfunction, all of everything that we go through, as a people. And we just continue to move forward with it. And I'm excited. And the magazine gives me the opportunity to meet people like Dr. Priscilla and her amazing company, so it's a blessing. It truly is.
Okay, perfect segue. Dr. Priscilla Johnson. Now, hold on, because I got to get this right. You are an environmental activist with a PhD in water resources engineering.
Listen,
That's right.
First
That's
of all, that just sounds like I can't even afford to say it. Like it's just way too important.
Vicky,
But
listen, first of all, thank you for having us. And this is the first time I've heard Tunisha's story. And Tunisia to me is just a marvel. I mean, she's a
mm,
mentor. She's taken EcoDaisy underneath her wings. We're environmental engineering, yes, background. We produce eco-friendly cleaning products, and just about as long as actually Tunisia's had her magazine. So we started back in the farmers markets in New Bern, North Carolina. Me and my son, he'd come in and he'd run around for the cupcake lady, and I'd get all our cleaning products set up, and he would do all the demos. And again, you talk about a small town, Trenton being a small town. I'm from a small town, Washington, North Carolina, little tiny town on the coast, on the Pamela Coast Sound. Everybody knows everybody,
mm.
but the community that we built there, just like you were explaining, Tunisia, you are able to just pursue your dreams. You felt safe, even though, in the face of all the things that, it means to be Black in America, you still felt inspired. I still to this day, I've got my council of grandmoms and godmoms and all the people who are looking after me and praying for me. And now in turn, I can give that to somebody else. So EcoDaisy was
And
born.
just to interject real quick, this is the inventor of EcoDaisy. Can we say that? So go ahead, Dr.
Let us get
Priscilla.
that little straight,
Yeah,
let
go
us
ahead,
get
Dr.
that a little
Priscilla.
bit, let us throw that into it.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that because I invented those products because out of my love for the environment and what I saw working for a major chemical company. I mean, they manufactured Agent Orange. I mean, just think about what that did in Vietnam and all the, effects on our veterans. And so it was in the water, and I saw what happened to the fish, and I combined my love of cleaning and what I knew that we should do better by the environment. And every single thing that ends up in our drinking water, actually it goes down the drain. So we have to think about what we put down the drain. And so I love cleaning, and I saw what was happening to the fish. So I came up with these products. And today we're going strong. We're about 14 different platforms. We're on ecodaisyusa.com. That's our main website. But right now I'm starting a mentoring network for people who work in the environment. And the reason why I'm doing that is because it's harder work than you think. It's a spiritual journey, really, working for the environment, defending the environment. We see all these racial inequities, especially in Louisiana, when it comes to environmental injustices and where they decide to put landfills and chemical plants and not cleaning up the water like we've seen in Flint. Um, and so we really have a big responsibility. And they always say, to whom much is given, much is required. And I think we all have taken up that mantle. And a lot of the listeners that you have, Vicky, I'm sure they understand what that means. And so I take that seriously. Usually if you think about, a PhD or, someone that's in engineering, it's intimidating, but it really isn't. I mean, if you know what your purpose is in life, you're going to go after it no matter what. The right people are going to be put in your path. And I just want to encourage folks. And so EcoDaisy USA, that's really it's a movement more so than anything. I mean, yes, they're great cleaning products, but it's about a healthier lifestyle. We're all, especially since in the past year or year and a half or so, we're all really thinking about our health and how to make our environments healthier. We're spending a lot of time indoors. And I think that a lot of people have changed their habits. A lot of people have.
Yeah, for sure. And, just as I'm hearing you talking and you talking about, you mentioned on the fact that, hearing the PhD can kind of be intimidating, but I love the fact that you touched on that because I just had this conversation the other day. Representation is so important and it matters so much. And I think to see a Black woman in this field where we might not even think that a Black woman would be in or haven't seen it before, I think you're really breaking down walls and barriers for other women coming up behind you to see, oh, she looks like me. She's doing this. Okay, maybe I can do it. It gives people the possibility of that as well. So I just commend you for, sticking to what you actually want to do in your passion and making a difference for sure.
Well, thank you for saying that. And that's why, I mean, I'm so thankful to Tunisia because believe it or not, I'm an introvert. I'm not the person that'll be, out there, promoting myself or anything like that. I'd rather be in the corner reading a book or writing. But Tunisia is, and her company, it has been such a force to take EcoDaisy to the next level. And I'm so grateful to her. I mean, she does it so naturally, and I trust her. And I love the journey that we're on together, and all these accolades that, Impact is getting. There's just going to be many, many more things, many more good things coming to her. So I just love the relationship that we've established,
Yeah.
and I'm thankful to her. I'm thankful to her, inviting me to the show just to talk. But I want to say one more thing about that intimidation part. It's like a funny story. So when I decided, I wasn't always an engineer, by the way. I went to film school at NYU. I studied communications and media and TV. Yep, I sure did. That's what my
Really?
first degree was, in 4 years. And I decided I was going to do something a little bit more technical. So I went back into engineering. And there was one guy, he was a professor at a college that I was taking some classes. And he basically said that if he saw my resume, if I wanted to go into engineering and get my PhD, and then he saw that I had a communications degree as an undergraduate, he would never hire me.
Mm.
And you know what? I showed him the back of my head.
Mm-hmm.
I said,
Wow.
thanks, but no thanks. And so I say that to say, when somebody tells you no, that should put a drive in you like you never believe. If you know you're supposed to be doing something, you know
Right.
God has given you the talents, you
Mm.
go for it. And the people who are the naysayers, you walk away from them immediately. Run immediately.
Absolutely. Wow. That's a testimony because I
Mhm.
feel like, and I'm sure Tanisha, you've had that same experience, sometimes that on this journey, we hear the word no. A lot of times we may hear the word no, but I think it's good for people to hear, like women in your position, both you, Tanisha, and Dr. Priscilla, who really are killing it at the top of your game and things like that, to know that you've experienced that as well, because sometimes that can be discouraging. You hear those no's so many times and it's like, okay, I give up. But to know that there are women who've overcome that and are actually still killing it in their field, that's good to hear. It's refreshing to hear for sure.
And it also allows you it allows you the opportunity to go in and say, okay, this person said no, so how can I get to the yes?
Mm,
What do I need to do to get to where I need to be?
right.
And if this person is, for me, like I always tell people, I've heard no before, but what I've done is I'm a creator. I'm going to go in and create these things for myself. I'm not going to give anyone the power over me or the opportunity to say no. I'm going to put myself in position to do that. So how do I do it? How do I create these opportunities, not only for myself, but for other people to allow them in? Because some people love saying no. I'm in a position right now where I'm working with some folk and they are like, oh, well, no, we should do it this way. And you have to, because their vision is not yours all the time. Just like Dr. Priscilla went in there, she's like, oh, I'm going to be an engineer and it's going, and he's like, I wouldn't hire you. And she like, what? Okay, I could show you better than I could tell you. And we have to take that onus on ourselves. So that's what I did. I'm like, what's happening here? Okay, I got something for that. And that's just who we are as Black people. Like, we need a t-shirt. I got something for that. So that's just me, who I am. I'm just really into creating my own space, especially because being a Black woman, and not having so many opportunities that are afforded to us. I'm like, okay, well then how can I create that for myself and others?
Exactly. And that's the key, just finding another way to do it. Like I have a friend who always says, there's always another way, there's multiple ways to skin a cat or something like that.
Right, right.
You gotta figure that out. But I love the fact also that, while you are two bosses, that your industries and your passions brought you to each other to be able to work together, to be able to do things together. So is there anything in the pipeline that we need to be looking for between the two of you?
Well, yes.
Let's get into it.
Well, we have, look at my hair. It's just like, so we have
Gorgeous. You look gorgeous, Tunita.
all this. So the magazine, there's two portions to me. I have the magazine and I also have a branding company. And I discovered this branding company throughout the work with the magazine, right? So many companies need help, but like I am big on branding. I'm big on how things supposed to look, especially for our people, like, right?
Mhm.
So the magazine on March 27th, we're doing, since it's women's, well, we celebrate women every day, but
Right.
really special because this is Women's Month. We're doing a who's who of Black women in media, fashion, and film. So I have Claire Summers of Fashion Bomb Daily, who is coming to Utah out of all places to celebrate Black women because there are Black people in Utah. And I chose this space just because people do not know that there is a Black community here.
Mhm.
And so I thought about having a beauty lounge space inside of the celebration for the Black women to showcase Black women-owned products. And so I was speaking to Dr. Priscilla, and I was like, you need to have EcoDaisy here in this space. We're going to showcase Black women-owned products. We're going to have Facebook in the building. Like Claire's going to be there. We could get it on Fashion Bomb Daily and all these things. And she was like, "What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Tanisha? What?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "We're going to have at least about 60 to 100 people because COVID, I'm still kind of figure out how many, but the maximum is going to be like 100 people. And let us get together, and then each person that's there with their company, they'll be able to speak, and we'll be live, so people will be able to see on Impact's end what we're doing. And so that's what we're working on together.
That's
And also, yes, and also on the branding side, helping EcoDaisy rebrand and level up in everything. Look at Dr. Priscilla, she's like,
Folks, I mean, Tunisia is killing it. It's beautiful what she's doing. The word is level up.
So that's what we're doing together, and it's just the beginning portion of the work to be done, and just putting it in the light, like you said, to have a Black woman-owned, eco-friendly product company. Listen, I cannot wait for the people to see everything she's doing. And every time I'm somewhere, I'm like, I want you to come on and speak about your company because people need to hear. And like we say, representation matters.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that's amazing too. Like I've already said, the fact that you two have come together, but really showing women what we can do when we come together. Because I know a lot of
Right.
times, we hear these rumors and things like that. Women get a bad rap of not being able to work together, it being catty, it being this and that. But you two are
Mm-mm.
really like showing the women what it is you can accomplish when you're working together and you're working with big names. I mean, Facebook. Like that's huge. So the fact that you two are showing us how to do it, I commend you both for that. Um,
Oh, thank you.
and Dr. Priscilla, I do want to say with you, I know you're working on this rebranding, but do you have a vision as far as where you want EcoDaisy to go? Do you see yourself in a few years doing something different, expanding into something else? What do you see as far as the future of EcoDaisy?
Wow, thanks for that question because I do. I see EcoDaisy being a much more sustainable company. We have plastic bottles that we use now. And I want to get out of the plastic bottle buying business, or at least reduce it dramatically, where we could have a subscription based where we're using refills that are much more sustainable for the planet. I'm even looking into paper bottles. Yeah, there's a supplier out of Europe that I'm actually looking at. So whatever we can do to make the products more sustainable, we're looking at an all vegan line. So we're really trying to, it's already plant-based, it's coconut-based, and there's glass cleaners and multi-purpose and dish soap and that type of thing. Everything's based in coconut, but I want to make sure that we put the claims out there, we do it the right way, we do it with integrity.
Right.
And with that branding piece, that impact is really bringing to EcoDaisy. I feel like we'll be able to reach a lot more people. And it'll be it's already a very colorful line. If you go to walmart.com, you can see our products there. Just type in EcoDaisy, and it's already a very colorful line. But what Impact is doing to level the brand up over the next few years, I really want it to be a household name. And that's what I'm working with.
Claiming it.
Yes, yes.
Claiming it.
And it's been 14 years. We're now available on Walmart.com. I mean, it took that long to get to that point. And talking about I approached Costco about having and carrying our products, and they said initially, no, you're too small. And I said, well, what does too small mean? And they said, well, 35 million. And I said, well, what do you mean 35 million? They said, well, in revenue. I said, well, we're not $35 million in revenue, but I'm scratching my head because I'm talking to the diversity supplier folks. And I'm saying, well, how is it that you're going to build diverse suppliers when you say no out the gate?
Right.
And so I really challenged them. And then finally, he turned me on to the salespeople, or the buyers, I should say. I never heard back from them. But the one key thing I told him, and again, you're talking about the vision for the company. The one key thing I told this guy, and it was mind you, this was all email, wasn't over the phone. I said, listen, we have access to the same supply chain that the biggest brands in the world have. Why won't you give us a chance? So over the next few years, I want folks to see that a Black-owned brand can become a billion-dollar brand.
Right.
And I also want to emphasize the fact that over this past year, it is Black women who have catapulted EcoDaisy the level of consciousness, yes, in this country. And I thank them for that. And the reason why that's important, we were highlighted in blackbusiness.com, in BuzzFeed, and I really appreciate that exposure because I think that Black women do not get marketed to in the ways that we should be. People expect Black women to buy whatever product it is. And now, most recently, we've seen a lot of the advertisements. If you go online, you can't ignore, there's always Black people. And you're like, well, where were these Black people before? Right. We've been here the whole time. We deserve to be marketed to. Right. We deserve people to spend money on our products. Our products are just as good, if not better. And acknowledge the fact that really, I mean, just look at what's happened in the last year with with voting and what happened in Georgia and what happened. I mean, come on. I mean, Black women are really showing up in this economy, in small businesses. And that's another thing. I kind of shirk at the word small. Nobody's dream is small. Nobody.
Right.
It's their whole life that they put into that business. I came from a family-owned business. We've had the business for 50 years. My father started. He was the first Black to start this business in little Eastern North Carolina. And what it showed me, again, to get back to your question about what I want to see in the next 5 years, is not only that the products themselves could be high quality, sustainable, but that we can inspire other brands, other businesses to become big.
Yeah.
So that, yes, we can knock on Costco's door and say, hey, Costco, carry our products. Because we have quality, we have people who buy it, we have the dedication, and we're in it for the long haul. And it's kind of like my 14-year-old, he said to me a couple of days ago, we were reminiscing about being in the farmer's market and how he would come in. He was maybe about 5 or 6, and he'd come in, and it was 6 o'clock in the morning. We get set up, and he was running around the farmer's market, stops off at the cupcake lady, always snatched a cupcake off of her table. And then he'd come over, basically to help me finish putting up. And then he said, Mom, it's been a slow grind. And I said, first of all, what does a 14-year-old know about a slow grind? But anyway.
But the fact that he saw that journey, and the fact that it was his mom, and literally see you do that from the ground up, the legacy that leaves. I don't have any children, but just as a child, to see my mom do that, I mean, that is more than a gift than any amount of money in the world. Just to have, to be able to see that and to, instill that hard work ethic into your child. That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing. And Tunisha, I have the same question for you. Where do you see Impact Magazine, Impact TV Network? Always have something going on, so I know something else is coming.
Lord, girl. So down the line, I've already been positioned by 2 other networks to actually come together. I really want my series and the network to be on a bigger platform to increase the programming for the network and also for the magazine, just to become a household name. Yeah. For thought-provoking news on Black folks. That's it.
And I can really see that for you, just in the short time we've known each other. I just see, how hard you work, how much you believe in your brand, and how much you're willing to help others. And that says so much just about your character, being the fact that you're actually willing to give whether it's time or resources just to help somebody else. That good karma is coming back your way. Like when you are blessing to others, God is going to bless you. And I truly believe that. So I already know I'm going to turn on the TV and be like, man, I got to get Tunisha for another interview. This one so busy. So
thank you.
I'm claiming, big blessings on both of your businesses. I know, I can just tell by the type of women you are that you have nothing but success coming your way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I thank you for having us on and allowing us to speak about our journey.
Of course. Dr. Priscilla, thank you so much for your time. I'm talking to a doctor. I feel important.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to come back and tell folks about, the next part of our journey. Yeah. And I know Tunisha's going to be an impact brand strategist. They're going to be a really big part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I just can't wait to see you both continue to flourish. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you both, and keep showing the girls how to do it. Keep inspiring us all.